Peril, Jacob Zuma is a very, very smart operator. You know, in the days of exile, Zuma used to run with his team operations for infiltrating South Africa from Mozambique and Swaziland. And the South African government tried everything in its power to close down those operations, and they couldn't. Zuma was always outsmarting them. So he was several steps ahead of them. So he is a smart operator. Now, to sort out that they had to force the Mozambican government to remove him from Mozambique, which is why they signed the...
Okay, so what Mbeki'S brother, what he said about Zuma, it's quite interesting. And we're going to have to talk about this because it's very much quite interesting what he said, right? With Jacob Zuma, a lot has been said about that man, right? I know others were saying, Zuma, there's a record about Zuma working with the apartheid government spy and blah, blah, blah. And they even showed a picture of that guy. A lot have been said about Zuma's movement. People such as Mbeki'S, he recently said, I was commanded by Jacob Zuma when I went to exile. He was my commander, right? So it tells you about the influence of Jacob Zuma. It tells you about how you should never allow the media to fool you when it comes to that man. When the media tells you he's uneducated, he's dumb, he can't make good decisions, don't listen to them. That will be at the detrimental of your soul, because the man has been making educated decisions. For instance, honestly speaking, the one that we have, Phala. If you look at Phala, the educated one, the one who speaks good English, and you look at the decisions that the man is making, and you're like, is it better than the one who's uneducated? I feel like the one who's uneducated makes better decisions than the one who's educated, right? Which is the Phala one, right? So now you hear Mbeki'S brother says, hey, that chap is very smart, right? Now I'm telling you, hey, it appears like, guys, don't be fooled by this the media when they tell you, hey, don't be fooled by media, right? They have their own agenda and their own narrative that they want to promote, which is not the agenda. And I always say, and I will say it again, guys, to measure someone's intellectual capacity should not be measured by degrees. In fact, let me show you something, right? I was once in a relationship with a lady who had degrees, right? So when you speak to her, as we are speaking, right? In terms of English, wapalwa. It was a petty woman. Wapalwa. English, she's bad. English, she was horrible, and she's still horrible in speaking English, right? She was horrible in speaking English. But before I continue, well, I know you are not horrible. You are not horrible in subscribing, liking the video, and commenting in the comment section below. You're not horrible in clicking the notification bell. You're not horrible in watching the video until the end, watching the ads, and also sharing this video. Why? Doing all these things, guys, it's free of charge. So if it's free, then why don't you do it? You definitely have to do it now. Also, good people, you need to join, become a member of this YouTube channel. You need to there's a button called Super Thanks there. It's called Thanks. You can just donate to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Okay, going back to the lady, right? So, in terms of speaking English, that petty woman shame was horrible. But in terms of doing and writing, you can never compete with that woman. Spellings, all the stuff. So that's where I realized, you can never ever measure someone's intellectual capacity by by academics, because this one has got a degree, but the English that she speaks is like. But if you bring a paper and a pen and you ask that lady, she cannot compete with most of the 2Ks, right? Right, because of how good she is. This is to say, just because somebody is academically achieved doesn't make them good leaders. So you see that to get a point. I've just given you a perfect demonstration. A person who have gone into university, right? He was in Pretoria University, right? Graduated from that university, but speaking English, she's bad. Give her pen and a paper. Anything. In fact, as of now, she's busy studying something. Hey, this woman has terrorized all local young, the AMA 2K in the class, and I'm not gonna give you the clue as to what they are studying currently. I think she has passed that diploma and all the stuff. But if you speak to her English, shame, she's horrible. Say to her, we are going to write an exam. What comes out of, so do you see this concept of just because a person has got 3 degrees, it does not make them intelligent. It does not make them wise. All it means is that you have a perspective, an academical perspective, because academic gives you perspective. If you are an idiot, you will be an idiot with the perspective given by academics. You will still be an idiot, right? I'm saying you'll still be an idiot. You know, so it is like growth in life in general. There are people who are old. Have you ever seen an idiot who a 50-year idiot, right? And when you listen to the person, there's nothing to listen from that person. Age doesn't make people wise. If you are wise, you are wise. Being wise, it's something that other people can intentionally acquire, or others are born with it, but they tend to nurture it, right? So that is where we are going when we look at, or at least that's how we should judge people. And again, let me explain the word judge, because a lot of people don't understand the word judge. I'm going to use 2 concepts here. I'm going to use the court concept and the biblical concept. Let's start with the court concept, which is number 1. In court, you can, I'll give an example. Thabo Mbeki'S was judged on the 6th, I think it was on the 6th of November, 6th of June, right? He was judged, given a judgment, but not a verdict, right? He was told that you are found guilty, that's a judgment. But what's the verdict? He was told, come back and get a verdict. If you go to Christianity says, know ye not that ye shall judge angels. It speaks about judging, right? And people have misunderstood the concept of judging from a biblical point of view. Judging and condemnation are 2 different things. Judging means, if it explains in the book of Luke chapter 7, specifically if you start reading from verse 40 going upward, Jesus asked Peter and say, Peter, there were 2 people that owed their master, right? The one owed the master less, and the other one owed more. And then Jesus asked the question, who loved the master the most? And Peter says the one who owed the master more. Why? These 2 people were forgiven, but the level of sins are different. The level of the errors that have committed are different. Because of that, this one knows that I owed more, but I was forgiven equally, and will tend to love the master more. And the answer from Jesus after Peter has said that, he said, thou hast rightfully judged. In other words, you have rightfully distinguished between good and evil, between what is worse and less. Right there, when I have judged you, when I say to you, you are wrong, it's me judging you indeed. But what is wrong is to say you are going to die in your sins. That's condemnation. So Christians are supposed to judge, meaning are supposed to distinguish between evil and good, but they are not supposed to pose a condemnation to say, when you will die here. That's condemnation. Christians are not supposed to do that. Speaking about that, so I am saying we are to judge. Now that I've explained the word judging, what it means just clear. It means distinguishing between good and evil, right? So now that you understand the concept, when and as sorry guys, there was a problem with my battery, right? But again, the conclusion of the whole matter was that when you judge or when you look at a person, please bear in mind that because their academics does not mean a limitation in their thinking capacity. They might actually think better than you, right? So every time you look at an uneducated person, do not come from the angle of you have no qualification, you have no degree, therefore you can't do anything in life. No, intellectual capacity. Other people who are wisest in this country, look, go to our village, you'll find a wise old woman who have never been